Afternoon guys, how the devil are you? So quick decision today. It's a Sunday, so the train services are always rubbish on a Sunday, and it seems like there's lots of industrial action as well. And so what I've decided is I'm going to go out and about on an urban prowl. So come and join me. The River Medlock as it winds its way towards the city centre. Looks nice, but actually if you look closely you can see all the rubbish that's been dumped in it over the years. Not my idea of stealth camping, but it's probably homeless people. Good luck to them. So Mancunian Way closed. It's an impressive set of arches, isn't it, on the outskirts of the city centre. Don't know why it's closed. It's probably being repaired because it's a Sunday, just like the railway lines that I decided not to join today. So what's my plan? Well, I've kind of penciled in that I might try and walk about 10 miles outside of the city centre and then get public transport back in, probably a tram or a bus. My aim today is to head towards Stockport and then veer off towards Didsbury and come back via Charlton. So we'll see how that goes. It's a nice cascading series of arches off into the distance, isn't it? Thanks to the many train lines that spider themselves into Manchester city centre. I haven't been down this end of town for a long time, not since I was working for the local council. But it's nice to see Manchester from different angles, especially now loads of new buildings have gone up. An impressive skyline. And eerily looks a little bit like, after an Armageddon or something, with it all being deserted and one of the main trunk roads around the city, the Mancunian Way, being closed. This area at one point, of course, would have been quite a nice area to live. St Thomas's parish room over there, and all the old buildings, Victorian buildings. 1906 that was built. And there wouldn't have been so much around here at that point, you know. There's a lovely park over there as well. Hardwick Green Park. Yeah, it's a very pleasant little spot. Nothing much going on here apart from greenery, paths, trees and daffodils and a kids playing area, but many a break time was spent in here. Nice, just peaceful place just to have away from the city centre. And there's not many of these places in Manchester. Manchester, of course, being one of the major industrial growth cities of the Victorian era and the industry of the Industrial Revolution, and as a result grew so quickly that they didn't realise at the time that there was a vital necessity for the public to have large open areas of grass and trees. The Apollo Theatre. Only ever went here once to see 3 electric guitarists sparring off against each other. And I can't even remember what they were called, to be honest with you. No, it's a reasonably good show. So I've turned off Stockport Road now. Didn't really feel comfortable filming down that street, to be honest, even though the area around Ancoats has changed dramatically. I mean, it's a sunny day today and it looks lovely and friendly and the houses look clean and tidy, nice gardens, and I hope that's the case. I don't know if it's the same at night time. It certainly used to be a bit of a run-down, dodgy area, but I know that the various councils have been doing it up as much as they can over the last 10 years, so fair play to them and fair play to the people that live here if they're making it a nice place. So Devonshire Street South now, cutting across away from Stockport Road and down to heading down to the Curry Mile, Oxford Road and the one before it, which I think is called Anson Road. I might be wrong. And having said that, what I did about parks, this is a nice little area, isn't it? Just off Plymouth Grove. I don't think I even knew that this park existed, to be honest with you, even though it is just a collection of paths, benches and trees again, as the other ones are. and not particularly big, nothing really going on. So yeah, off Plymouth Grove, which is a slanting road that connects the two main spider legs that go into the city centre, and heading kind of southeast now. Well, I must say thanks as well on my way to Manchester Children's Hospital for unknowingly letting me use their bathroom. Fantastic. And while I'm at it, I must say thanks to all of the NHS in Manchester. Over the years, they've really looked after me. We're blessed in Manchester to have 3, 4, 5 hospitals, depending on how far you go out into the districts. And it really is fantastic. Children's Hospital, Eye Hospital, all sorts of specialist departments for whatever you need. Certainly when I had my two motorbike accidents, they looked after me and patched me back together again. So thanks very much. So now as I join Oxford Road and then leave it immediately almost, just to bring you down to Whitworth Park, one of Manchester's biggest parks and one of the best in my opinion. Very large trees, pathways, same old stuff as before really. Not quite as big as Platfield Park, which is probably better because it's got a lake and ducks and things like that. So as far as parks go, a nice peaceful place to sit. And as Oxford Road turns into what's colloquially known as the Curry Mile, I can, even just before I enter that area, I can smell the beautiful curries and spicy food wafting on the breeze. So let's take a trip down there and see how much it's changed. I think only the names of the restaurants have changed. It still is pretty much just a mile of curry houses. So gonna carry on down Oxford Road. I was tempted by Platt Park and a nice bench with a cup of tea, but continue on past what is called Platt Chapel. It's obviously been restored and is maintained, so that's nice to see. Unitarian chapel between 1700 and 1970. And this is the direction we're heading on. But before we do, just one little glimpse across the road at what you can guess is as the Touch Track building, part of Manchester University campus, I believe. So Oxford Road has turned into Palatine Road as I venture further out from the city centre through what is essentially lots of old grand housing estates, huge houses, mostly broken down into student accommodation now. And I'm just about to approach the outskirts of a little town called Withington, which is another one to add to my list of shabby places in Greater Manchester that obviously at one point had a little bit more glory. So I've turned off now. Palatine Road continues on, of course, and I've veered off to the left on Wilmslow Road. Still a smattering of the usual takeaways and unusually named cafes, fish and chip shops that never seem to be open, and heading down Wilmslow Road now towards Didsbury, a lovely little hamlet just outside Manchester and or within Greater Manchester. Past the Christie Hospital, I think it's the cancer hospital there, and I'm looking forward to a pint and some food once I get to Didsbury. As we come now into the outskirts of Didsbury, you can see just how much bigger the houses become, and still a lot of them I reckon are broken up into different flats or shared houses for students. But just look at the size of some of these buildings, how many rooms they must have, and they've all got like 3 floors and a basement. So some people have just got too much money, it seems. One for sale here. I'm going to inquire when I get home to see how much it is. Philip James, the Fairfax. Want to see it? See if you can guess how much it is, and I'll put the price up. Look at that beauty. Now I'm guessing that it's kind of mock the area that it's trying to pretend to be, but isn't it lovely? Turrets and doorways and basements and attic windows. Oh, and it must go back quite a long way as well. I'd love to live there. So finally made it onto the approach to Didsbury, and this is a lovely place. In fact, lots of nice shops and bistros and pubs and bars and charity shops. I don't know, they'll be open on a Sunday, but maybe I might have a gander. And I'm going to head down now to a pub that I always go to, just because it's a nice traditional old pub. And I work in a bar and I love it, but I'd rather go and have a pint on my day off in a proper old-fashioned pub, sit in the garden in the sun. Hill Street, I think this is the one. I think so. I think I can see it in the distance. Can you? There it is. Cheers. Thanks Fletcher Moss for a lovely pint of hopster in the sun. Suitably refreshed at Fletcher Moss. Nice pint in there, always well kept beer. Hyde's, I think, is the brewery. And onwards ho, as nobody ever says. And I'm hopefully going to walk to Chorlton now. That should be a bit of a mission. Maybe have another pint or a cup of tea on the way. So ashamed to be leaving Didsbury in a way. Certainly a more upmarket suburb of Manchester, and could easily have stayed for another pint there, but must go on. I want to try and get fit enough so that I can start doing 15-20 miles a day, and I think so far to Didsbury I've done 7 or 8 out of Manchester, and then I'm going to see if I can make it back via Chorlton, which will kind of double it probably, the distance. And wow, the sun's holding up, but there's still a chill in the air, and it's good to be out and enjoying the fresh air, and onwards ho. So turn off Spath Road onto this little tree-lined lane. And that building that you can see there is Spath Homes, I think it's called. The block of flats. I actually lived there once with an ex-girlfriend. Hi Colette, if you're watching. So eventually come full circle, if you like, to Palatine Road in West Didsbury here. And we're going to continue on down what is called Barlow Moor Lane. The main road that leads down into Chorlton. So reach the junction, Barlow Moor Road and Pritters Parkway, one of the major routes out of and into the city centre, where you can pick up routes to Birmingham, the M6, the M60, the airport, most of the routes south. That's where most of the traffic will come in and out of. And at the junction of these two roads, of course, is Southern Cemetery, one of the largest cemeteries in Manchester, just thousands of gravestones disappearing off into the distance. Onward! No! Onward ho! Southern Cemetery, the main entrance, and isn't it lovely, the care and attention that went into the buildings in the past. If only we paid so much attention to the detail these days. And yeah, there's me down there. Woo! Hello! And then identical matching building the other side. Must be quite a nice building to live in, I would imagine. I noticed in this part of the cemetery, a lot of the names seem to be almost Arabic sounding. Muhammad, Umar, Vash, Abdul, Wad, Chowdhury, so perhaps some Indian ones too. Zaid, Al-Faham. I wonder if you can request to be buried in a certain part of the cemetery and how that actually works. Interesting, you know, that all the lots of Arabic sounding people or Indian, Asian people are buried here in one place. And also how lots of the graves over there seem to be more modern, more recent. It's a beautiful cemetery. Some of the trees and the variations in the green are lovely. And then you get to this bit here and it's almost like they were buried regimentally very close to each other and all consisting of very grey stone, perhaps older than the others. I'd love to know more about it. Barlowmore Road tram stop. I never even knew this existed, to be honest with you. Where does it go? Gonna have to find out. Where does it go? Is that the Altrincham line? I don't remember any of that. Gonna have to Google it. Another nice big open space here. Football pitch, Cholton Park I think it's called. Nice to see a little meadow of crocuses and daffodils there rearing their heads. Hello guys. And another big open space that I didn't realise existed, but again, way out of the city centre. I always forget just how long this sweeping curve of Barlowmore Road into Cholton actually is. It just goes on for, it's quite a long way. I've only ever been down it really in the car before, or a vehicle, and obviously then it's over and done in a couple of minutes. But just approaching the outskirts of Cholton now, which I'm very glad about. Not actually sure that I can walk again all the way back to Manchester from here, so I may well be catching the tram, and especially if I come across a nice bar or cafe. Tea Hive, Cholton. And that was probably the best coffee I've had for 5 years at least, if not ever. Congratulations to them, and thanks to Rachel for mentioning it to me that it existed. And that has been a really fitting end to a fantastic day, and I can't wait to come here again sometime. That was just amazing coffee. Just the right creaminess, texture, sweetness and strength. Everything about it was amazing. So, tram stop, here we come. So suitably refreshed after that amazing coffee. Was almost tempted to walk towards the tram stop, but by the time I got there, that'd be 10-15 minutes, and then wait for a tram, and then get the tram, and then walk from the tram to my house. And if I looked at Google Maps, and just actually walking straight home from here would only be just over an hour. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be absolute jelly by the time I get home, I'm sure, but may as well complete the whole journey on foot. I'll feel like I've accomplished something even better then. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm on my last stretch of this humongous circle of Greater Manchester, the southern side of Greater Manchester, and I'm looking forward to lamb chops when I get home. Hello, Puss. having a nice nap in the sun. Oh, you're giving me the sly eye. Looks like a very nice, comfortable perch. Enjoy the afternoon, mate. I have to mention actually that the reason why that cafe was recommended to me by Rachel, lovely lady, ex-colleague, friend and Choltonite, was because I asked her for suggestions to go for a coffee. I was meant to be on a date today through Bumble, that phone application. I don't, as I mentioned on my dating video, which was a long time ago now, go check it out. I don't actually get that many people sending me messages on Bumble, and so when they do, you know, they're usually not, I'm not particularly attracted to them, shall we say. This lady though was lovely. She looked lovely, she had a nice profile, she was shorter than me, which always helps, and I was really looking forward to having a date with her today. We were going to go for a stroll maybe and have a coffee, and she bottled out at the last minute, said that she was nervous about it and stuff. So anyway, I hope she does get in touch at some point. I sent her my number in case she changes her mind. But what a shame, eh? Just the very few ladies that I'm attracted to that are also attracted to me have been so shat on by previous relationships that they're scared to go down the online dating route. Anyway, I'm sure Mrs. Right will come along at some point. And so, the other end of the deserted Mancunian Way signifies that I have come full circle. And the towers and the glass windows of the city centre are beckoning me home. And in fact, this approach to the city centre has particular significance to me, because this is the home stretch of the Manchester 10k run, which I've completed, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, 5 times maybe, obviously before lockdown hit, and I think it's open again this year, so I'm actually in the process of training to do it again. So I'll be running down here soon on my last breath, and I look forward to do it again. Well, I made an executive decision. Got to the city centre and I thought, 2 choices: go home, cook some food, or have a celebratory pint for my long distance hike through the suburbs of Greater Manchester. So that's what I'm doing. Going to a place that I work, Bathwinch, and I shall enjoy a nice swift one.